Hi, hello, welcome to solutions continuation of lecture 1. In the lecture 1, I have discussed about the solubility of the gases in solution solvent. Once again, I will check with the NCERT. I will show you what is solubility. The maximum amount of that can be dissolved in a specified amount of solvent at a specified temperature. The solubility is nothing but maximum amount of substance can be dissolved in a specified amount of solvent at a specified temperature. And we discussed about the factors that depends on the solubility of this substance, that is nature of solute and nature of solvent, as well as the temperature and pressure. So these are main factors, and that we have discussed about these factors in the last session. And once again, we are checking with the NCERT also. Now, the point is solubility of solid in a liquid. We have discussed about a gas in a liquid. Again, we will come back to all discussions. As per the NCERT, we are looking now. Every solid does not dissolve in a given liquid. What is the meaning of this one is the suitable conditions are required here. That means if you take sodium chloride and sugar, they will dissolve readily in water. While that if you take naphthalene and anthracene, as they are organic compound, they do not in water. Other hand, if this naphthalene and anthracene will dissolve readily in the case of benzene, so what we have discussed is the nature of the solvent, nature of the solute. Here, nature of the solute NaCl and sugar is different, and the nature of the solvents benzene and water is also different. That means in benzene, sodium chloride and sugar do not dissolve. The reason is it dissolves, that polar solute dissolves in polar solvents, non-polar solutes in non-polar solvents. So this is the factor actually making a difference in the solubility of the solid in the liquid. In general, what we'll do is the solute dissolves in a solvent if the intermolecular forces are similar in the two, or we may say like dissolves like. So intermolecular interactions are actually playing a vital role in discussing this solubility of a solid in liquid. Another paragraph NCERT is telling that when a solid solute is added to the solvent, so what we are adding to the solvent is solid solute. Then some solute dissolves and its concentration increases in solution. So some solute dissolves and its concentration increases in solution. Most important confusing thing here is, if you read once again, when a solid solute is added to the solvent, so why we are adding the solid solute to the solvent? We know our intention is to prepare a solution. Some solute dissolves, so the solute will dissolve in the solution and the concentration of the solution increases. Concentration means the quantity of the solute, amount of solute actually is making the concentrated solution. So that solubility, that process of the dissolving a solute in the solution is called as dissolution. And some solute particles in solution actually said to be collide with the solid solute particles and get separated out of the solution. So this point is also very clear, and research is done. After that they are giving this one. NCERT is meant for research only. So some solute particles in solution collide with solid solute particles and get separated out of solution. So this is the major point. This we will call it as crystallization. So what will happen? Keep on collision, these solute particles will lose their kinetic energy and finally they will separate out in the form of a crystal. A stage is reached when the two processes occur at the same rate. Under such conditions, number of solute particles going into the solution will equal to the number of solute particles separating out of the solution. That we'll call it as dynamic equilibrium. So here solute plus solvent and all they have shown it. So solute plus solvent is a solution. At this stage, the concentration of solute in solution remain constant under given conditions. That is temperature and pressure is given conditions. You know, similar process followed when the gas are dissolved in liquid solvents. Such solution which no more solute can be dissolved at the same temperature and pressure is called saturated solution. So here they are given the definition for saturated solution very clearly, that a solution in which no more solute can be dissolved at the same temperature and pressure is called saturated solution. Here we can observe, this is the very keen point here. They again, this is the definition for saturated solution. So an unsaturated solution is what? Is one in which more solute can be dissolved at the same temperature. So solute quantity can be more in such cases. That solution is called unsaturated solutions. And a solution which is in dynamic equilibrium with undissolved solute is a saturated solution, contains the maximum amount of solute dissolved in a given amount of solvent. So this all information is giving about the definition of saturated solution, definition of unsaturated solution, and also what is exactly the maximum quantity of solute that can be dissolved in a solvent, to tell about the definition for solubility. Here they have told about the solubility definition. So they have given solubility definition. What is solubility definition? The concentration of the solution is called solubility. That means maximum amount of solute dissolved in a given amount of solvent is called as solubility. So this all paragraph is most important for examination point of view to understand the solubility in the beginning of this solutions concept. Earlier they told that solubility of one substance into another depends on nature of the substances. That means solute and solvent. In addition to this one, we have other parameters also there. They are also affecting the solubility. They are temperature, pressure also. So temperature and pressure also controls this solubility of the solute in a given solvent. That was in detail explained by this NCERT in this paragraph, that the solubility of a solid in a liquid is significantly affected by temperature changes. So temperature changes, solubility of a solid in liquid definitely changes. That means, and that was actually taken by the equations were given in this dynamic equilibrium. Le-Chatelier's principle here discussed. Le-Chatelier principle also. In general, what happened? Nearly saturated solutions are there. For them, this delta H is greater than 0 for dissolution process. And a solubility should increase with the rise in temperature. If it is exothermic, delta H is less than 0. That is also given. So the solubility should decrease. These trends also observed experimentally. What is this entire paragraph meaning here? In a nearly saturated solution, what will happen? dissolution process is endothermic. Means what is nearly saturated solution? Already almost the solution is taken maximum amount of solute, and that is not able to take the further addition of solute. In such cases, the dissolution of the solute in the solution is difficult. The difficult, according to thermodynamics, is called as endothermic process. So that is delta H is greater than 0 is given, means positive value. And next one, the solubility should increase with rise in temperature. So one more point here, almost if you want to prepare a solution with more and more solute than the maximum amount what we expected, then that time what will happen? So thermodynamically that process is said to be exothermic. Delta H is less than 0. That solubility should decreases in that case. That means the solubility should increase with rise in temperature, and if it is exothermic, the solubility should decrease. Okay, so these trends are experimentally observed also. So this entire paragraph is also important as per the thermodynamics. That is solubility considerations. Here if you read 2 to 3 times only, you will come to know there is a complete meaning is there in the solubility concepts. So what about the solubility effect of temperature asked? Then this entire paragraph need to be studied carefully 2 to 3 times in the NCERT textbook. Okay, so here Lee Chattel principle is also explained here. So introduced. We have that is the discussion given. After that, what about the effect of pressure on the solubility of this solids in liquids? As you know, solids don't have any kind of significant effect on solubility of solids and liquids. So it is so because liquids and solids are highly incompressible when compared to gases, and practically remains unaffected by changes in the pressure. So we discuss in this entire paragraph and all, they have discussed about the solubility of the solids in liquids. So solids discussion is made in this all paragraphs, 3 paragraphs, 4 paragraphs. And next one, effect of solubility of gas in liquid. You know, many gases dissolve in water, that we know, but oxygen, if you take, oxygen dissolves only to a small extent in water. That means all the gases are not said to be dissolved in water in an equal quantity. That's why it is dissolved oxygen which sustains all the aquatic life. You know, aquatic life is sustaining because of this small extent of the oxygen which is present inside the water in the form of BOD. On the other hand, hydrogen chloride HCl is highly soluble in water. So we know the nature of HCl, that when dissociates into ions. So solubility of gases in liquids is greatly affected by the pressure. HCl is a gas, and temperature also here also. So pressure and temperature are now playing a vital role in the solubility of gases in liquids. And the solubility of gas is actually said to be increases with increase in pressure. Means the pressure increases, solubility also increases. Okay. So for that, a small experiment is also given that we have observed in the NCERT. So in this experiment, if you keenly observe, considering a system shown in this 2.1a picture, what happened? The lower part of the solution, the upper part of gaseous system at pressure P and temperature T is shown here. This is piston is there, VW1 mass. And assume the system to be at state equilibrium. What will happens under these conditions? The rate of the gaseous particles entering and leaving the solution phase is same, that get the equilibrium stage. That means increase in pressure over the solution phase by compressing the gas into smaller volume. Means gas is there inside, these dots are gases only. When we increase the pressure over this one, what will happen? Volume decrease. In small volume, great number of gas molecules are there, means what will happen means increase the number of gaseous particles per unit volume over the solution. Also, the rate in which gaseous particles are striking the surface of solution to enter it. So, automatically again come back to the solution, it will take place, the collision increases. Then the solubility of a gas will increase until new equilibrium is reached, resulting in an increase in the pressure of the gas above the solution, and thus solubility increases. So this entire continuous statement here given is solubility of the gas when increases up to reaching the equilibrium. That is the meaning of this. And increases the pressure of the gas. When you increase the pressure of the gas above the liquid solution, then this will increases. So that is nothing but solubility increases when you increase the pressure of the gas over the surface of the liquid solution increases. So pressure and solubility, how related we have observed in this experiment. So now we have to observe which scientist has observed this entire information is nothing but his name is Henry. Now we can observe Henry is a scientist, the first to given a quantitative relationship between pressure and solubility of a gas in a solvent, which is called Henry's law. So he introduced actually the quantitative relationship between pressure and solubility of this gas in the liquid. What he states, what is the important statement? Henry's law statement is the solubility of a gas in a liquid is directly proportional to the partial pressure of the gas present above the surface of the liquid or the solution, whether this is liquid or a solution. This statement exactly telling about the experiment what is performed here in this illustration. And we know when we are discussing about the partial pressures, we have to remember Dalton's law. That means contemporary of Henry, Dalton, a contemporary of Henry, also concluded independently that solubility of a gas in a liquid solution is a function of partial pressure of the gas. So the solubility is nothing but a function of the partial pressure of the gas. So when the Dalton theory, partial pressures theory, telling about the partial pressures, how related with the mole fractions, now that can also be included in this discussion to modify, to improve this Henry's concepts. That means hence Henry also concluded independently that solubility of a gas in a liquid solution is function of partial pressure of the gas, he told. So if you use the mole fraction of the gas in the solution as a measure of its solubility, then it can be said that mole fraction of gas in the solution is said to be proportional to the partial pressure of the gas over the solution. So now how it was modified is mole fraction of the gas is directly proportional to the solubility of the gas. That means the that is nothing but partial pressure. Once the solubility, partial pressure are directly proportional, then what will happen? This mole fraction is directly proportional to the partial pressure of the gas over the solution. So you can also understand this one like this. So most commonly used form of Henry's law is what? Now this is the most commonly used Henry's law from these two conclusions given as the partial pressure of the gas in vapor phase is proportional to the mole fraction of the gas in the solution. So mole fraction we will use chi symbol or x. So this is the x, and partial pressure of the gas will use symbol P. So they are directly proportional to each other, and they have introduced the constant here in this that is kh. If you match with this one, compare with y is equals to mx, in this the partial pressure can be taken on y axis, and this mole fraction can be taken on x axis, and it goes along the origin. That means via origin, this entire straight line obtained and the experiment you can see here. Partial pressure of hydrochloric acid HCl gas in torch versus the mole fraction of HCl in the solution in cyclohexane. Here given the values. So experimental results for the solubility of H2S gas in cyclohexane at 293 Kelvin, they have noticed the slope of the line is the Henry's law constant. So this KH value is nothing but slope of the experiment. Slope of the experiment. Here, different gases they have tested and they have got different values for the KH. And in this, at same temperature, they have noticed, and table form also given, suggests that KH is function of nature of the gas. Means, what is the function of the nature of the gas? When we know what is the KH value, we can decide the solubility of the gas in the solution. Whether it is a greater extent of the solubility or lesser extent of the solubility of the gas is there in the solution, and we can decide based on KH. So that is related here is higher the value of KH. Here this point is most important point. Higher the value of KH at a given temperature, lower is the solubility of the gas in the liquid. So solubility and KH are how they are related. Solubility decreases when the KH value increases. For that, we have taken nitrogen and oxygen from the table form at a given temperature and pressure. If you see nitrogen value of KH, it is 88.4 given. Okay. Oxygen value at the same temperature, KH value given as 46.82. So what we understand from this is, if N2 and O2, if you observe KH values, increases with increase in temperature. Okay. Here what they discussed is, KH values for both N2 and O2 increase with increase in temperature, indicating the solubility of the gases increases with the decrease in temperature. Okay. Now you observe here, N2 at 298 Kelvin, 293 Kelvin, it is 76 KH value. And same N2 I'll show you once again clearly if you want. Yeah, you check with this N2 at 293 Kelvin, 76.48 is there. The same N2 at 303 Kelvin temperature, the KH value noticed as 88, means KH value increased when temperature increases for the nitrogen gas. The same scenario is observed for the oxygen gas. At 298 3 Kelvin, oxygen KH value is 34.86, whereas the same oxygen gas at 303 Kelvin, temperature raised, KH value also raised to 46.82. Here, this is the experimental observation indicating that this is the KH value of the gases increases with increase in temperature, and that solubility of the gases increases with the decrease in temperature. Why solubility of the gases increases with the decrease in temperature? Means the KH and solubility, the related inversely proportional. Inverse proportional relationship is there. This is where discussed. That means higher the value of KH at a given pressure, and the lower the solubility of the gas in the liquid. So oxygen gas, if you take at 303 Kelvin, 46.82 is there. Nitrogen gas value at 303 is 88.84 is there. That means KH value for nitrogen is greater than oxygen, means KH value is greater for nitrogen, means nitrogen solubility is in water is lesser than oxygen. So it is due to the reason that aquatic species are more comfortable in cold waters rather than in warm waters. Why this statement is given? We know that in water, oxygen is more soluble or nitrogen more soluble. We human beings require oxygen, and we say oxygen is the living life gas for us. The same life gas is required for every living organism, and even that is present in the aquatic life also. Means aquatic species requires oxygen, and that oxygen content is coming into the water because KH value of the oxygen is smaller than nitrogen. So nitrogen is not said to be greatly soluble in water compared to oxygen. So oxygen solubility is little more extent more than nitrogen. So that's why oxygen is dissolved in water, and that is the reason behind that aquatic species and their life in cold waters. Why cold water? Temperature is less. Automatically what happens? Solubility increases. Temperature is more, means warm water is there. Solubility decreases because gas temperature increases. Then what happens? The pressure over the liquid water of particular gas will be less. Means the gas molecules will scatter when temperature increases. So due to all these things, we can understand this paragraph of solubility of the gases in liquids. Now we will see that they have given in different books how they are given this. This is what we observed from other textbooks. This is another reference book we have. In this reference book, there is one experiment here which is performed, that is gas solubility and breathing system. they have discussed, because this Henry's law application is more important in our life. That's why here breathing, this is the discussion, the breathing system that they have discussed correlated with Henry's law. When we inhale about 500 centimeter cube of air with earth breath, each breath we take 500 centimeter cube of air. So this is one experimental result. That's 500 cc of air we will inhale. The influx of air is a result of changes in volume of the lungs as the diaphragm is depressed and chest expands. To take like this, chest expands. So which results the decrease in pressure of about 100 pascals relative to atmospheric pressure. Okay, so that is one resultant result observed. Of that, expiration occurs as the diaphragm rises and chest contracts. So gives rise to the differential pressure of 100 pascals above atmospheric pressure. So this is the experimental result they are telling only. So total volume of the air in the lungs is about 6 decimeter cube, and the additional volume of air that can be exhaled forcefully after normal expiration is about 1.5 decimeter cube. So some air remains in lungs at all times to prevent the collapse of alveoli. Okay. So experimental results are telling these points regarding this Henry's law. So the effect of gas exchange between blood and air inside the alveoli of lungs means that the composition of the air in the lungs changes through the breathing cycle. Observe. This is the detailed research on the Henry's law, we can say. Alveolar gas is in fact a mixture of newly inhaled air and air about to be inhaled. So two things are there. Air about to be inhaled and air inhaled. So that mixture is nothing but alveolar gas. So the concentration of oxygen here in this present is arterial blood is equivalent to partial pressure of about 5 kilopascals. Experiment they are telling. So whereas the partial pressure of freshly inhaled air is about 14 kilopascals, they told. That means arterial blood remains the capillary passing through the wall of the alveolus for about 0.75 seconds, but such as the steepness of the pressure gradient, that is becomes fully saturated with oxygen about 0.25 seconds. Okay, so this one is telling if the lungs collect fluids and pneumonia. The fluid is nothing but, as in pneumonia, the respiratory membrane thickens and diffusion is greatly slowed. So pneumonia comes means that problem comes. Body tissues begin to suffer from oxygen starvation. And a carbon dioxide moves in the opposite direction across the respiratory tissue, but the partial pressure gradient is much less corresponding to about 700 pascals in blood and 5 kilopascal in air at equilibrium. However, because of carbon dioxide, what happens? It's much more soluble in alveolar fluid than oxygen is. So equal amounts of oxygen and carbon dioxide exchanged in each breath. So each breath, this is the discussion, equal amounts of carbon dioxide and oxygen will breathe. So here hyperbaric oxygen chamber in which oxygen is at an elevated partial pressure is used to treat certain types of diseases. Here, carbon monoxide poisoning can be treated in this way as weaken the consequences of shock. That is the thing. And diseases that are caused by anaerobic bacteria such as gas gangrene and tetanus can also be treated because bacteria cannot thrive in high oxygen concentrations. Okay, this is gas solubility in breathing study. And now we'll come to this paragraph. In this paragraph, which is discussed in our NCERT, also the same thing, application of Henry's law. In scuba diving, where scuba is an acronym formed from self-contained underwater breathing apparatus. What is the meaning of scuba? Scuba meaning is nothing but the self-contained underwater breathing apparatus, that is. So the scuba divers are there. Scuba diving air is supplied at a high pressure so that the pressure within the diver's chest matches the pressure exerted by the surrounding water. So in that way, they will arrange the pressure in the scuba divers cylinders. So the latter increases by about 1 atmosphere for each 10 meters of descent. So descent means go inside. So one unfortunate consequence of breathing air at high pressures is that nitrogen is much more soluble in fatty tissues than in water. So nitrogen is more soluble at this condition, so that it tends to dissolve in CNS system, bone marrow and fat reserves. So nitrogen gas dissolves at this high pressure. Okay, and this results in nitrogen narcosis with symptoms like intoxication. Okay, if the diver rises too rapidly to the surface, nitrogen comes out of its lipid solution as bubbles. So nitrogen comes in the form of bubbles when he rapidly comes out of the water, which causes a painful and sometimes fatal condition known as bends. Is the most important disease problem faced by the scuba divers. They will ask in the exam, bends, BENDS. So many cases what will happen, the scuba drowning appears to be consequences of atrial embolysis. That means embolisms means obstructions in arteries caused by gas bubbles here. It will cause some problem in the breathing, and loss of consciousness as the air bubbles rise into the head. Okay, so what we observed from this entire discussion, box discussion, is the solubility and its application from Henry's law is discussed in this one. Now once again we'll see what is Henry's law. Henry's law, nothing but the solubility of a gas in a solvent depends on pressure and temperature. When a gas is enclosed over its saturated solution, then gas in solution, between gas and gas in solution, equilibrium will be established. So if the pressure increases on the system, equilibrium moves in the direction which will reduce the pressure according to Le Chatelier's principle. And the pressure can be reduced by more gas dissolving in solvent. So thus solubility, also known as concentration of the gas in a given solvent, increase with increase of pressure. Of that, the kinetic molecular explanation of effect of pressure on gas solution system is illustrated in that picture here. Okay, I will see that picture. So this is the picture. See here, A picture is telling about equilibrium exists between gas molecules and those of solution. Here in the A picture. In the B picture, when the pressure is applied, the gas volume decreases and concentration in gas phase increases. That's B1 telling. And C picture is telling that more gas molecules pass into solution, re-establish the equilibrium, whereby the pressure above the gas is decreased. In the C option they are telling. Okay, so the relationship between pressure and solubility of gas in particular solvent was investigated by scientist who is William Henry. 1803 has done this one, and he has given a generalization which is known as Henry's law, and a statement once again: for a gas in contact with a solvent at constant temperature, concentration of the gas dissolves in solvent is directly proportional to the pressure of a gas. Here they are told about concentration. Concentration is also known as solubility. Now that symbol given as C here, C proportional to P and C is equal to K into P, called K is proportionality constant. Now we are calling as Henry's constant. Okay. After that, limitations and all discussed in the session, previous session. Now we can see different gases, how the solubility with temperature changes observed here in this picture. Solubility on wax is taken, on temperature excess is taken, helium, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, oxygen, methane. Once the temperature increases, all these gases, their curves are showing uh, smaller value of solubility. That means temperature along x-axis it is increasing in degrees, and solubility along y-axis from top to bottom is decreasing with decreasing temperature. So solubility decreases for these gases when temperature increases, that is inversely proportional. Now here this graph is telling that solubilities of the gases in water decrease as temperature increases. All solubilities were measured at constant pressure, that is 101.3 kilopascal, means 1 atmosphere of gas above the solutions. Now we will see some application here in this one. The temperature of the river, lake or stream is raised abnormally high, then what will happen? Usually due to the discharge of hot water from some industrial process, the solubility of oxygen in water decreases. So oxygen solubility in water decreases in such cases. So decreased levels of dissolved oxygen may have serious consequences from health of water's ecosystems. In severe cases can result large scale fish kills here. So this is the picture they are showing. This picture if you observe, A picture, small bubbles of air in this glass of chilled water formed when the water warmed to room temperature, and the solubility of dissolved air decreases. Okay, and B picture if you see, the decreased solubility of oxygen in natural water subjected to thermal pollution can result in large scale fish kills. That means this entire information picture is giving the information about the solubility with the temperature. Now the solubility of the gas solute is affected by partial pressure of solute in the gas to which solution is exposed. Gas solubility generally increases as the pressure of the gas increases. we have carbonated beverages are there. Provide a nice illustration of this Henry's law. The carbonation process involves exposing the beverage to relatively high pressure of carbon dioxide gas, then sealing the beverage container. Thus, saturating the beverage with CO2 at this pressure will take place. When the beverage container is opened, what will happen? A familiar hiss is heard as carbon dioxide gas pressure is released. And some of the dissolved carbon dioxide is typically seen leaving solution in the form of small bubbles. Here in this picture we are observing. At this point, the beverage is super saturated with carbon dioxide. With time, the dissolved carbon dioxide concentration will decreases to its equilibrium value and beverage will become flat. So when this beverage will become flat means when we open it, it will become flat. So this picture is telling opening the bottle of carbonated beverage reduces the pressure of the gas carbon dioxide above the beverage. Means with high pressure we will close that lid, and with a high pressure this carbon dioxide present over the surface of the liquid gets dissolved. So once we release that pressure, what will happen? Again this carbon dioxide gas will come out of it. So that solubility of CO2 is now said to be lowered when we decrease the pressure. So some dissolved carbon dioxide may be seen leaving solution in small gas bubbles and all we have observed in this picture. So for many gases solutes, relation between solubility of the concentration of the gas or solubility of the gas and partial pressure is given like this. That Z is equal to K into P. Okay, here K we called as constant, Henry's constant, and the quantity of the ideal gas that dissolves in a definite volume of liquid is directly proportional to pressure is also another definition of it. So we have discussed about the Bend's case, that means decompression sickness, DCS is another name for Bend's. So do remember decompression sickness is Bend's, that will take place for scuba diving persons. Okay, scuba divers it will come. So let us see another reference book we have, what it is telling about Henry's law. So Henry's law is telling ability of one compound to dissolve another compound, that we will call it as solubility. So before starting Henry's law, every time we have to learn about the compound's ability to dissolve in another compound. Of that, solubility of the gas and liquid generally depends on what are the factors we will learn. After that, the solubility of the gas always limited by equilibrium between the gas and saturated solution of the gas. So gas already dissolved and gas which is yet to be dissolved, between them equilibrium always established in this discussion of solubility. So this is the picture, textbook picture also we have observed like this. So in the first picture, if you observe, low pressure equilibrium, low concentration. Second picture, double the pressure equilibrium, then double the concentration. This is second picture is telling. When the increase the pressure, concentration of the gas increases in the solution. That's the meaning of it. So finally, in this book also they are given Henry's law can be put into mathematical terms. So P is equals to KH into C, and where P is the partial pressure, the told, C is the concentration of the solute, means we can also take it as solubility, and KH is the constant, Henry's constant, dimensions of pressure divided by concentration. So here KH will become P by C. So pressure in atmospheres, concentration in moles. Atmosphere per moles is the unit. For hydrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, they have given experimental values. So other forms of the Henry's law, this table form is most important for competitive examination point of view. Oxygen values, P by C, C by P. See, Henry's constant expressed in terms of moles per liter atmosphere, and Henry's constant when they expressed in atmospheres is P by X, means mole fraction will be discussed. If the Henry's constant is dimensionless, then we will use this CAP by C gas. This is the formula where C is the amount of concentration of the gas in solution, P is the partial pressure of the gas above the solution, and X is the mole fraction of the gas in solution. So this is the picture. Most important picture here discussed. This table form is important. Different kinds of units. It's not having any units, means concentration ratio. It is having units atmosphere, means P by X. This is most important formula. And it is having moles per liter atmosphere, C by P. It's having liter atmosphere or mole, P by C is the formula we will use. C is solubility only. Now we'll see another important reference book regarding the Henry's law. What they have told about that Henry's law in that book. They have also given the Henry's law constants in this book, and they have told the solubility of the gas and liquid is expressed in terms of absorption coefficient. Another important terminology introduced. The absorption coefficient given as the formula alpha is equals to V by V into P, nu by V into P, where nu is the volume of the gas dissolved, small v is the volume of the gas dissolved is V, small v by Vp, and then absorption coefficient given as small v by V into P. And these are factors only. These factors we have discussed in the previous class also. After that, the pressure, Henry's law definition here in this book, they are told solubility of a gas in a liquid is directly proportional to the pressure of the gas over the solution at a definite temperature. It means a specified temperature. And M proportional to P, M is equal to Kp, where they have given M is the solubility. So M is the mass of the gas dissolved per unit volume, and P is the pressure, and K is the constant. So when this mass will become equals to K, when the pressure is 1, that time the solubility of the gas at unit pressure is said to be equal to Henry's constant. That time the magnitude of the K depends on the nature of the gas. Here, if you compare that M is equals to K into P with Y is equal to Mx, then you will get this type of graphical representation. So the variation of the solubility of some gases against the equilibrium pressure, then that straight line, we saw the straight line here for oxygen and nitrogen, this theta value, tan theta, that is nothing but slope of this one is nothing but K. For nitrogen, for oxygen, so different values are there. For oxygen, it is a big value observed. That means solubility is more for oxygen compared to nitrogen from this experiment. Now, if the two gases are there, then Henry's law formula can be formulated as M1 by M2 is equals to P1 by P2. So, if the solubility of the gas is known, at one particular pressure, then it can be calculated at other pressures using this relation. That is M1 by M2 is equals to P1 by P2, where M1 is the solubility of the gas at pressure P1 and M2 is the solubility of the gas at pressure P2. So two different pressures we can use this Henry's law expression. Of that they have told mole fraction related with partial pressure. After studying Dalton's concepts, more fraction of the gas in a solution is proportional to the partial pressure of the gas, which was discussed. Of that, they are given this Henry's law as differently, that is mole fraction is equals to K dash into P, where they have given modified that small partial pressure is equals to 1 by K dash into X, and that 1 by K dash is taken as KH. That KH we are calling as Henry's constant in this case. So that table form values and all as per the experimental data information, this book also they have given. Of that some limitations also they have given. That one limitation what we discussed in the previous session also is gas molecules do not either dissociate or associate, they are told. In that case, solubility of ammonia in water discussed in this limitation in this book, higher than expected because the reaction, that means ammonia and water reaction gives ions, ammonium ion and OH minus ions. Well, of carbon dioxide also reacts with water gives carbonic acid. This is an interesting example concern the dissolution of oxygen in blood. Normally, oxygen gas is only sparingly soluble. This was discussed here, that is oxyhemoglobin formation and all discussed. So this is the limitation what we have to discuss in the last session also. In this book also they give the same thing. Now, most important thing, application of Henry's law. So once again, soft drink bottles are sealed at high pressure to increase the solubility of CO2, and the soft drink is using this Henry's law concept. And at high altitudes, the partial pressure of oxygen is low, leads to the low concentration of oxygen in blood. People living there, the low concentration develops anoxia, is the disease that unable to think and act properly. That is unconsciousness will come for that. And another one, scuba divers concepts in every reference book we have in our textbook also they are given. This is another important application. To avoid this bends, whatever the solution also they are given, the tanks of scuba divers will be filled with helium 11.7 and nitrogen 56.2 and 32.1% is oxygen. So gases are less soluble in aqueous solutions of electrolytes than in pure water, is called salting out effect. That is one important point discussed in this book. Non-electrolytes cases such as sugar, if it is present in a solution, also reduce the solubility of gases in water. So gases solubility can be affected by all these different kinds of observations from this reference books we have observed. Finally, we'll see one problem from NCERT, that is, if N2 gas is bubbled through water at 293 Kelvin, how many millimoles of N2 gas would dissolve in 1 liter of water, assuming that N2 exerts a partial pressure of 0.987 bar, given KH value at 293 Kelvin is 76.48 kilobars. So they have given the KH value and they have given the partial pressure. So partial pressure is said to be directly proportional to mole fraction. So if you take P is equals to KH into mole fraction, in this the mole fraction is taken as nitrogen is P by KH, calculated as 1.29 to the power of minus 5. So what it indicates that in the question they told it is 1 liter given gas dissolved in 1 liter. How many millimoles? We don't know. So 1 liter of water contains how many? We know water concentration is 55.5 moles. So that is taken. And finally, this 55.5 in the mole fraction expressions and all taken, 55.5 only as number of moles of gas, which is negligible compared to the water. So that was mole fraction became same thing only. Okay, that is equated actually. After that, finding the number of moles of nitrogen taken place, and they found the number of moles of nitrogen by multiplying the mole fraction of this nitrogen gas calculated in the beginning. That is got 7.16 10 to the power of minus 4 moles they have got. So that is the moles, and the converting moles into millimoles is done here by multiplying that moles into with 1000. They have got the value 0.716. So this is one important problem, you can say, from Henry's law, which is discussed in NCERT. So the same thing, NCERT also same thing which is given, and the percentage also discussed in the reference books. In NCERT also same percentages of helium to be present, to be kept in the scuba divers and their tanks and all. In our book also they given. NCERT also discussed about anoxia, also discussed about the Bend's disease also. Okay, avoid the Bend's. They have discussed about this two different names, applications, and the Henry's law applications in scuba diving and climbing of mountains. They are given. So, dear students and friends, we have discussed Henry's law in this session by referring different kinds of books, including NCERT, which tells us an information about Henry's law very clearly from all these things. So Henry's law is the most important application in our science. So that was discussed in this session to give boost up for the previous session. So that means continuation of this previous session, this Henry's law, like a revision I have given. Hope you understand this session, and we'll come with the next continuation of vapor pressures in the next session. Okay, until have a nice day. Bye bye.